Welcome back to the Adventures of Stroke Boy. Hi, my name is Paul, and I'm going to walk you through my trials and tribulations on how to recover from a stroke. I hope you've watched my earlier episodes. Right now, we're going to talk about preparing to go home and what things you need to navigate your house and be successful. So, as you're probably a week or two from leaving the rehab hospital and preparing to go home, I highly recommend having them do a home evaluation so you can make sure, or your support team can make sure they can get you in the house and you can navigate around the house and actually get into the bathroom and use all the items you need to make your life easier. So the first thing that you need to make sure you can get in the house. Now, if you have steps, you may need a ramp. If you can walk and you have a handrail, then you're okay. If you can't walk and you don't have a handrail, you may need to have a ramp made and have people help you in the house. You may not need an elaborate ramp. You may just need a minimal ramp just to start for now, depending on how your success progresses. Okay, you're in rehab. Let's say you're a week in. This is where you start thinking about items you need at home. And if you're not walking well, like I wasn't, you're going to need a walker with an armrest. So you want to order it early so you have all this equipment when you go home. Because unfortunately for me, they didn't tell me till 2 days before I was going home and I had to scramble for equipment. So this is how it works. It gives your hand something to hold on to and to work your grip, but in the beginning your grip will not work. But as you walk, you just slowly push forward and you're stable as you perfect your walking. The most important thing you need is a wheelchair if you're not able to walk. And I highly recommend in the first week they'll be able to know whether or not you're going to have a rapid recovery or not to order the wheelchair early. I was at rehab and they were about to tell me it was time to go home, but they didn't have a wheelchair for me and I couldn't walk. All I could do was transition from the bed to a wheelchair to a car. So I had to stay in a few extra days till we scrambled to get a wheelchair. To just save you that headache, order a wheelchair about the first week you're at rehab if you're going to need one. That way you can avoid all the pitfalls that I dealt with. Now, if you get a wheelchair like mine, which has a plastic ring around the pad, you'll find that will chafe your affected arm. So I highly recommend getting a towel because it makes it much more comfortable. Now, the reason you'll want a wheelchair, even after you're walking, is it makes it so much easier to get to the dinner table, to roll in and roll out. It makes it easier going to the shower, pushing the wheelchair, or sitting in the wheelchair and pushing yourself to the shower if you can't walk that far yet, and then leaving it right outside the shower so you can get out of the wheelchair, get in the shower, and then use your shower chair. Then when you get out of the shower, the wheelchair is right there so you can get dressed, because you'll find you're very exhausted when you first come home. It is a great asset, probably the most important thing you'll need. When you're in the rehab hospital, your affected leg probably has a drop foot. And so what you will need is an ankle foot orthotic, also known as an AFO. I bought mine on Amazon. Hopefully you didn't have a blood clot in your leg, because my foot was swollen to a size 14 and I could not wear shoes. So initially I could not use an AFO until I got the swelling down, which took several months. But it will help you from not dragging your toes and help you to learn to walk again. Okay, the white elephant in the room, potty time. The most important thing once you get home is navigating into the bathroom. You may find out if you're on a walker that your walker may not fit in the bathroom. Therefore, you need to get a potty chair and set that up where you can access it to go to the bathroom. Here you have a porta potty, which is going to be very important to order at week 1 of rehab. That way you have it at home when you leave in 3 to 4 weeks. Because unfortunately, if the medical supply company is out, it will be miserable trying to go to the bathroom without one. So it's a very useful device. And you can use it by itself in a room. If you can't walk to the bathroom or you can't get your wheelchair through the doorway, it's a great device. So it's another item you will need. Now, you're not going to have a lot of energy, and if your potty chair is approximately 10 feet away, you may only be able to get to it once or twice a day because it exhausts you. So, one thing that's going to help is for the boys to get a urinal, and you can use that sitting in your chair. For the girls, you can use the catheter, and then that way you won't have to go to the potty chair unless you have, the dreaded poop. One thing that you're going to need is a bed rail, and I was recommended a Hurricane, which is a small flexible ring that goes under your bed. I personally tried it. It was too flexible and I couldn't get out of the bed. I recommend this bed rail, and this is the part you hold on to, and this is the part that goes under the bed. It is very secure and makes it very easy to get in and out of the bed. The next thing that you're going to really enjoy is eating. Now, before our stroke, we were able to fix our own food, go get it. Now that we've had our stroke, we're not able to stand in the kitchen. We only have one arm. It is very difficult to open a package or cut any meat because everything moves around. So you're going to need a caregiver to assist you in preparing your food. One thing that worked for me when I was getting my food is I had my recliner elevated, I had my porta potty in my room, and I had my caregiver set a small cooler by my dominant hand so I could reach down and get my sandwich, cookies, and have several waters. So that way you're somewhat self-sufficient and you can get out of the bedroom for a little while. The next important thing you need to do is make sure you can get in and out of a chair, say for watching television or resting somewhere else other than the bed. I learned that you can use the tops of a block wall. They're approximately 2 inches thick that go on top as the cap. And if you stack them too high, and what I did was I put them under my recliner, and that raised the recliner high enough so I was able to get in and out of the chair easily. Another item when you get home that'll be very important for your rehab is a rice sock. I used a mountain climbing sock, large sock, filled it with white rice, and what you do is you microwave it till it's warm, not hot, so it doesn't burn you, about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on how well your microwave works. And then what you do is you use it to warm up your wrist. So you put it like that and leave it on for about 5 minutes. And then you start articulating the wrist as an example. So you'll go up, you'll go down. It loosens the muscles and ligaments. Then you'll go to the fingers, put them on for 5 minutes. And the sock usually stays warm for about 15. So then put the sock on like that, and it will warm your fingers up because you'll realize that you'll have a lot of scar tissue. So you got to warm up the fingers, the muscles, and the tendons. So then you can start to stretch the fingers like this. In the beginning, this will be excruciating pain. However, in the end, it'll be worth it. And you want to make sure you move the wrist and then roll the hand up into a fist and then continue that. We have to learn how to put on a compression sock because we only have one hand, which everybody believes is impossible, but it is not. And I'm here to show you a few tricks on how to do it. So first of all, after you've had your stroke, it's going to be almost impossible to raise your bad leg up to here. So don't be frustrated when you cannot get it here. It's probably going to take a month or two to do that. But once you do, as people are putting a compression sock on your leg, if you've had a blood clot, is you're slowly going to thread the sock on. And you want to make sure that the heel is in the right position as you're easing it on your foot. The key is to not put a lot of the sock on at once, because otherwise if you do, it will never go on. And also, the most important thing is that heel has to be in the right spot. So you notice I just have a little bit of material, and then I pull the sock on. That is the key to putting a compression sock on with only one hand. You have to constantly check there's no wrinkles on your toes. Pull it on just like that, nice and smooth, heels perfect, and then you pull it all the way on your leg. And that is compression sock 101. Now, to take it off, the key is you take your index finger under the sock and you roll it down to your ankle, go over your heel, and push it all the way off. So now to be successful, we need to put a good plan in action, and that is a lot of physical movement using the tools that I've showed you on how to move your leg, move your hand, move your arm, move your ankle, move your wrist, and maintain that mobility, because as you continue to regain your neural connection, you're able to then move the leg, the foot, the toes, the fingers, and the arm. We can do this. So now we're going to talk about your emotions. When you're in the hospital, you had a lot of people visiting you. You had some social contact. You noticed when you were in the rehab hospital that you were very tired when you're doing rehab, but now you're home. Now your visitors has greatly reduced. You can think about more things, but now is the time we need to dig deep and focus on recovery. Our goal is to not go down the rabbit hole and to be successful and victorious. One of the most important things is to continue human activity. So you want to have goals to look forward to. In other words, activities, whether it's going outside or just going from your room to your bedroom, which will be a monumental task accomplished with your walker in the beginning. And then bridging to visiting with people, having people come over, doing small activities that you can accomplish right now. Okay, the next thing that we're going to work on is hygiene. So for us boys, we got to shave. We have to brush our teeth. We like stinky mouth. And so I use a electric toothbrush, which makes it much easier. You'll find it a challenge to put the toothpaste on with one hand and then to grab it, but it can be done. And it just takes practice and consistency and perseverance, and we will succeed at all these activities. So now the next thing we want to think about is our bathing. Now, initially it's very difficult to navigate getting into the bathroom with a wheelchair. Now, a wheelchair may not fit, your walker may not fit, so you have to figure out how you're going to navigate into the bathroom. Hopefully you have a walk-in shower, and then all you need is a shower chair. If you have a bathtub, then you'll need the board that go across the bathtub so you can sit on that, but it will be very difficult in the beginning to step over the tub to get in. Once you do, then you'll need assistance taking a shower. I used a loofah on a stick, and my wife had to give me a shower in the beginning, and then finally I was able to do it. In between showers, you can use diaper wipes, which you can clean yourself up, and then you don't have to go in the shower every day, because the shower will be very exhausting in the beginning, but it will get better. Okay, I hope all these tips helped you in navigating getting home. If you have any tips or tricks that you found that worked better or that I missed, please put them in the comments so we can share it with everybody. Please like and subscribe. We've got a next episode is going to be at home rehab, where the games really begin. Have a great day.